Welcome, everyone. You are about to embark on a journey through the universe as you indulge in this extraordinary essence of enlightened, empowered, evolved. Let the show begin in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Just in time. Greetings, everyone. I'm Luke Bryan Smith, and welcome to Enlightened, Empowered, Evolved, where we educate, motivate, and liberate you through enlightening dialogues, empowering music, and evolving content. I am excited again because my next extraordinary guest is a transformational breath master trained in the neuroscience and energies of breath to facilitate profound interchange. One of only a few certified 9D somatic breathwork practitioners worldwide. She helps people improve, stabilize, and optimize their mental, physical, and emotional well being, starting with one breath, guiding thousands through deeply immersive journeys that awaken, heal, and transform. And there's more. But without further ado, allow me to introduce to you Tabatha DeBruyn. Did I say that right?
You did. Thank you so
Okay.
much for having me.
Yes. I love the unique names, and you are very welcome, Tabitha. I just want to say before we continue that I am a firm believer that time is one of our most precious assets. And for you to choose to spend even a moment of your time in the history of your timeline here with me on Enlightened Empowered Evolved, I just want to extend my sincerest gratitude to you. Thank you very much for being here at this present moment.
It's an honor.
Yes. So, Tabitha, let's just dive right into it. Transformational Breath Master. I don't want to ask too many questions at one time, but Transformational Breath Master, trained in neuroscience, being one of only a few certified 9D somatic breathwork practitioners. Give us a little insight on both of those and how it sort of unfolded, it came to be, and a little insight and clarity on all this and how you incorporate this.
So, as a transformational breath master, what I do is I teach very simple breath patterns that change the state in the body. And then once we change the state in the body, we change the state in the mind. When you have greater clarity in the mind, you can align and come from that aligned state to take action to get the results you're looking for. But a lot of people come and they want to do some healing, whether it be big T trauma, little t trauma, generational trauma, whether they want to humanly optimize, whether they want to get rid of addiction patterns. Breathwork in this capacity, somatic 9D breathwork, which I'll explain, came to me after my mom passed. So I work with a lot of families to be able to process emotions and to be able to move through that grieving process. But we first start with the body. A lot of people want to think their way out of stress, anxiety, burnout, addiction, etc. But if we can change the state in the body first and allow that safety to come in, then work with the activation, we can get greater clarity in the mind and we can reprogram the subconscious mind and unearth what's no longer serving people and program them in an optimized way so they start to get the results they're looking for very rapidly.
Wow, thank you for that bit of clarity. You are speaking my language, Tabitha, because I have read several books, amazing literary masterpieces, I would say. I'll start it off with The Power of the Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy, one of my favorite reads. Just knowing and being aware of, I'll say this, and you correct me in your perspective if you feel something that I'm saying that is not in alignment with what you have come to know. The mind is basically a computer, like a computer, and you can reprogram it. You can discard, you can cultivate new programming to eradicate what no longer serves you. And yes, the patterns in our mind. And I know you know this. Give us a little breakdown of how our subconscious works, how our mind works, and how these unhealthy patterns, how they kind of rule our lives. Can you give us a little insight on that? I know you can.
So 95% of our brain power is in this subconscious mind, what we're not aware of.
Right.
And I'm sure you and your listeners have heard this before, but I like to show the science in a really simple way because we can complicate things, but we have what they call the reticular activating system or the RAS system. It's a filter in the brain that takes and puts things into the subconscious mind if they're not important, because you'd go crazy if you had to process the millions of bits of information that come into us at any given second. So, what's important gets moved into the conscious mind, that 5% of our brain power.
Mm.
The tricky part is that the way we program that filter are the thoughts we have, the things we're exposed to, the people that we're exposed to over and over again through repetition. So when someone says to themselves really positive thoughts, the reticular activating system says these are important. Like, I am energized, money comes easily to me, I am healthy, I am vibrant, I am strong, and incredible ideas come to me every single day. When they're programmed that way, the reticular activating system says, okay, I'm going to prove that to you. And it shows all the different ways that those positive thoughts are actually, and they become a self-fulfilling prophecy. Unfortunately, with negative bias and the stress level and the fact that most people stay in fight, flight, freeze and are in survival mode, unfortunately, a lot of their thoughts and how we are primed all day long, a lot of those are not all that positive. So our reticular activating system is programmed in a negative way, and that becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. I can never do anything right. I make mistakes all the time. I'm not healthy. I'm broke. I can never afford things. These are just very, very common thoughts. So with 9D breath work, what I do is with a breath pattern, we bring safety into the body. And then if they don't have any contraindications, it's a very, very safe modality. But if they don't have any contraindications, what we do is we activate and we temporarily put them into fight, flight, freeze, which is an
Mm.
incredible place to be for focus, for great creativity. And we make the brain minimize the blood flow to the prefrontal cortex through that
Mm.
pattern.
Wow.
When you do that, we shut down, we quiet the ruminating thoughts within the conscious mind, those looping thoughts, the ones we have all day long that are programming the reticular activating system in a certain way. And when we slow that down, we open up the subconscious mind
Mm.
through neurolinguistic programming, guided prompts. What we do is we start to excavate what no longer serves somebody in
Right.
those belief patterns that they've had before. The breath allows for somatic healing to release these, and we unshackle, if you will, those deeply rooted belief patterns and untangle them, and
Mm.
then program the subconscious mind to optimize that particular activating system. Did that make sense?
Wow, Tabitha, I just have to say this. The way that you just articulated that, the way you painted a picture. But I'm going to answer your question first. Yes, it made sense. And the way you explained it sounded so uh just, I don't want to say simple, but just clear and beautiful at the same time. And yes, it made a lot of sense. And it's just amazing just how that is able to be done to the human mind, to the subconscious, and that through amazing people such as yourself, and through studies and research and proven, you know, examples, through life proven, facts, that you can help people that have been struggling with things that they didn't understand for so long, that is basically self-imposed, even without, especially most likely without being aware of it, and that's amazing. So I just want to ask you this, and this just popped in my head. What led you to this, down this path? What inspired you? What was the thing that sparked you to even to start researching this, to embody this, to uh, as your purpose, as one of your purposes? I'd say you have a lot of purposes, I'm sure, but what led to this?
It was a bit of a windy journey, but
Right.
I believe that when one door closes, another opens. And I've always just gone with when that curiosity is there, when the nudge is there, when it feels so aligned, I do lean into it. So I was a high school teacher for 15 years, and I absolutely loved empowering students to realize how capable they are of living a life they love and igniting this curiosity and expansion. That has never left. But I was also a mom of two rep athletes. So I have two boys. They're 26 and 23 now. But at the time, my teaching salary was capped. There was no way to make any more money, but I had a
Right.
desire for a bigger life. And therefore, I leaned into entrepreneurship.
Mm.
When I got into entrepreneurship alongside teaching, I fell in love with entrepreneurship and built a multi-million dollar business online globally, simultaneously while teaching school and raising a family. And
Congratulations. Congratulations.
I chose to leave the classroom because the world became my classroom. And I got very involved in mission work. I wanted my kids to have a chance to see the world outside of Canada. And
Mm.
we were instrumental in building a school in Guatemala. We worked with one in Tanzania. But in the meantime, I was teaching other startup entrepreneurs. And while I was doing that, I moved into transformational coaching because I would come up across these people with massive potential and a great big dream. And I knew that they could do it, but this belief system that was holding them back or giving their power away to other people's opinions that really had no reason to have power over them other than they were
Right.
programmed that they needed to. And so I went through school to become and did metaphysical psychology.
Mm.
I have my master's
Okay.
in that. But then
Wow.
I became a rapid transformational hypnotic therapist because I wanted to work with the subconscious mind. As we talked about earlier, that 95% brain power, I wanted to get in there to help people have more rapid results. And the way to do that was to excavate the belief patterns that weren't working, reprogram them with the ones that were. And so they would take aligned action to get the results. And I saw such rapid results with that with clients that I really expanded my transformational coaching practice with that. In the
Wow.
meantime, as we age and the kids grew up and they moved on, I became a primary caregiver for my mother. At
Mm.
58,
Wow.
she became very ill.
Mm.
It was rapid, and there was a lot of PTSD, there was a lot of anxiety and depression that was in my extended family, which got me very, very curious about the modalities that could really help those areas.
Right.
And I had 10 years with my mom. I'm very, very grateful. It wasn't easy.
Right.
Being a caregiver is a tricky, tricky
Right.
life path.
Right.
But I felt like I never left anything unsaid for a long time because I
Mm.
never knew if this was the last time. And I
Right.
knew I would grieve when she passed. And I did, of course, but I didn't know the depth I would grieve when I was all by myself. I was
Mm.
fine as long as I was an entrepreneur in that lane, a wife, a mother, a coach. But the moment I was by myself, I was having panic attacks. My hands were going numb. I had heart palpitations. And I realized that I was in functional depression. But I
Mm.
was also embarrassed because I am the person people go to
Right.
when they are struggling.
Right.
So I didn't tell anybody. And I
Wow.
suffered in silence until I came across Brian Kelly. Brian Kelly is the founder of Breath Masters
Mm.
and 9D Breathwork. Now,
Mm.
I'd done breathwork before, and I had used several of the modalities within 9D, but I had only done them separately. So I met him online. He was in Bali, Indonesia, and I was in Ontario, Canada. And I really felt aligned with the modality because 9D is not just meditative breath, it is not just down regulation breath. It is activation to ignite somatic healing with 8 other modalities within it. It has binaural beats that slow down the brain waves. It has neurolinguistic programming, guided coaching, subliminal messaging, and frequencies in music. We use a lot of 432 hertz to put the body at homeostasis. So without even
Right.
thinking, because you're just listening and breathing, you drop into a deep meditative state to move into opening that subconscious mind
Wow.
and several others. 9D stands for 9 dimensions with this modality.
Wow.
So I signed up for a 90-minute session. And on the
Mm.
other side of that 90-minute session, I was aware that I had repressed anger, resentment, disappointment, frustration, sadness. I had no conscious awareness of what I was really keeping within the body. I laughed, I cried, I shook, and I didn't relive anything. It was like I was a detached witness. My body did the healing when I allowed for that to be unearthed and to move into new thought patterns. On the other side of that, I had great gratitude. I had a sense of peace and freedom that I hadn't felt in years in my life. And since that day, I have chosen to get the word out for people to realize how powerful their breath can be to change how they feel in the body and in the mind and how to optimize their life. It's been such a gift in my life.
Wow, Tabitha, thank you for just sharing your amazing perspectives, insights. Not only just the way that you articulated it, painted an actual picture, and also just being very transparent in regards to you being the person that people go to, but going through struggles yourself, and not to make this about me, but that's what I pride myself in doing too. I try to. Now I don't take to social media every time there's something wrong and give that much that power, but I will um, express myself in ways that those that watch me, that I don't always like to say follow, because I feel that I'm a student as well, but I'm transparent about a lot of, physical and emotional things that I go through, and with the intentions that it can allow others to see by example that I'm human just like them. I'm not in a place where just because I have a platform or because I'm doing this show that I feel like I'm above anyone. I do feel like that I have a lot more tools than I used to be able to flow and grow through, and to that align with my wellness that I incorporate in my life. But at the same time, yes, there are a lot of things that I've been through and I've shared, with those around me and listeners, that just like, I'll give you an example. Today, I made I created a short video, and I haven't even uploaded it yet, but I will shortly. And I was speaking about wealth and wellness, not wellness, wealth and health, wellness and health. I got that mixed up in my head. Wellness and health, and because my wife just purchased me a book on food being medicine. And what I shared was that I'm been diagnosed with high blood pressure and hypertension. So, I'm sharing that with people that, hey, even I'm going through things, and I do eat fairly good, and I exercise. I incorporate exercise, on a regular basis. So even, someone like me, and to admit that, yes, I can stand to shed a few pounds as well, get rid of some of this. But yes, just thank you for being, my point being is thank you for being so, transparent, and opening up with some of your adversities and struggles and just things that you basically is put in front of you to overcome. And that's exactly your shining example of that, that you are using whatever comes your way as fuel to elevate you. And just you have so much going on, the entrepreneurship and just I just want to, for what it's worth, congratulate you and thank you for being a shining example to, our listeners, not only our women listeners, but everyone. So that's amazing. Amazing. And just thank you for being who you are, and continuous blessings and prosperity and health and wellness and love continue to circulate in your experiences.
Thank you so much. I am a firm believer that life does happen for us, not to us.
Right.
That does not mean it's easy. And I
Right.
think the more we can be honest and
Right.
allow that the darkness to come to light, that's how we
Right.
heal.
Right.
And as a practitioner, I think it allows people to know when you come and work with me, there is a level of unconditional love that
Right.
whatever has happened in where you are and what you're feeling right now, I'm going to hold space for you. And we are
Mm.
going to untangle that and we are going to take you to a very different place if that's what you want. And
Right.
I know because I've been there in a different capacity.
Mm. And also thank you for that, by the way. And also thank you just for just highlighting how important breathing is, and not just any kind of breathing, but just, intentional, and there's methods to breathing and breath work and that enhance our mental wellness, our physical, and that's amazing. And I'm thankful that I've been made aware of I'm not trying to say that I know everything. No, I don't. But just that doesn't sound foreign to me when you bring that up, the deep breathing and the techniques. It's amazing.
I'd love to teach one breath to your listeners because even if
Right.
they're listening in the car, no matter where they are, breath can be a superpower, which sounds really corny, but the reality is, in one breath, I can teach you to feel differently in your body,
Mm.
clearer in your mind. And that in turn can help you feel happier and healthier in your life.
Yeah.
So,
Show us something.
please,
All right.
most people live in fight, flight, freeze chronically. And so the body loves familiar. So if you're there most of the time, you don't even realize it. But sometimes the shoulders come up, a lot of
Yep.
tension,
Yep.
a lot of brain fog. People are exhausted at the end of the day, and they're breathing in and out of their mouth very shallow, just into the chest. There's a time and a place for it. You want to be in fight, flight, or freeze when you want to be super creative, very focused. You want to really get into the energy of getting things done, but you can't stay there 24/7. 90% of the hospital visits currently are connected to chronic fight, flight, freeze, stress response, survival mode. So, what I'd love for your listeners to do, no matter where they are, if they can take a second, just one breath, we're going to take a deep breath in through the nose. And you're going to breathe in really deep into the belly and inflate the belly. Most people, when they breathe in, they bring their abs in and are nice and tight. They come up this way. In actual fact, when you breathe air in and you inflate the belly, you're going to use what they call diaphragmatic breathing. So we're going to do this together in 3, 2, 1. Take a deep breath in through the nose, into the belly, expand. Now I want you to take another sniff of air into the chest, and then relax and let go like an audible sigh through a straw through the mouth, longer on the exhale. One breath. Heart rate went down. You were mentioning blood pressure. Blood pressure went down, and you probably feel more blood flow to your brain. So you've got greater clarity of thought, and you are going to be more energized. One breath. That is the scientifically fastest way to change your state. It's called the physiological sigh. In through
Wow.
the nose, about 60% into the belly, and then another sniff of air into the chest, and then a long, if you can, audible sigh through the mouth. That creates some vibrations. The vibrations stimulate the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is the largest nerve in the body from the brain to every organ, which creates safety in the body.
Wow.
That's what we need more of throughout the day.
Wow. Thank you for that, Tabitha. I appreciate that. That's amazing. And yes, I align and I uh, resonate with that because I have to remind myself, why are you breathing so shallow? Why are your shoulders so tight right now? And I'm supposed to be relaxing right now. I'm reading a book. Why am I have to consciously take like a mental uh, inventory of how I'm feeling and how I'm breathing and why is my fist clenched at this moment? What's going on? So that's amazing that we could all take a moment, be aware, and just simply practice the breathing technique that you just showed us, and that can make a world of difference, especially at that present moment. So amazing. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Right. So how can people find you?
If you go to my website, tabatha.online, Tabatha is Tabatha.online, you will find my website. And if you sign up for my newsletter, I will send your listeners a few freebies. One is a 7-minute cinematic trailer explaining all about 9D breath work in a really fun, experiential way. They just throw on some headphones. Another is a 5-minute reset. And I encourage everyone to use that. Just give yourself that 5 minutes of reset with breath. And you can share that with your family members. I work with kids, I work with teens, we work in schools, I work with corporations. But that is one of the best gifts I can give you. And then there's a 7-minute morning routine to be able to incorporate breath work into a very simple morning practice.
Wow, thank you. And I'm certain that you've sent me those links as well that I can incorporate into the description of this.
I'll ensure that you have them.
Okay, yes. Be sure that I have those links. So there'll be live links, especially on YouTube. It'll go up also. This podcast will go up on all the streaming sites as well, the music and podcast streaming sites that people can just listen to them audibly. But especially for YouTube, there's live links. When they go into the description, they'll be able to click on those links and get right to where we want them to go. So
wonderful. And I'd love for your listeners to follow me on Instagram. It's just Tabatha_DeBruyn. And I really like to interact and add as much value as I possibly can there.
yes, I'll be sure to follow you on Instagram. Mine is 333 Empower at 333 Empower. And that way when I upload, I always um um make sure I'm saying this right, but I always create shorts out of these. So it'll be a powerful segment of something that you're speaking about, and it'll have the why am I losing train of thought? It will have the subtitles, and yeah. So then I will invite you as a collaborator for your own short, your own reel.
I really appreciate that.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm at 333 Empower. Yeah, please, if I don't follow you first, please follow me and I'll see you. And yes, yes. Thank you very much, Tabitha, again for being here and for just sharing some of your amazing insight, knowledge, research, passions, and just your energy. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And thank you everyone for watching and or listening. Be sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, share this, not only help the platform grow, but get this information out there. I appreciate you. Thank you everyone. I'm sending you love and appreciation. Until next time, see you soon. Enlightened, Empowered, Evolved.